When my son passed, his widow inherited the home and $55 million. Then she threw me out, growling, "You don't belong here anymore. Go die in a dumpster a few days later." They say grief can break you, but for me, it forged something new. The day after I buried my son, David, his own wife, Chloe, didn't just kick me out of my home, she told me to die in a dumpster. And that, my friends, was her very first mistake. The silence in that house the day after David's funeral was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. It wasn't the peaceful, heavy quiet of mourning. No, this was a cold, hard, brittle silence, the kind that threatens to shatter if you even breathe wrong. I sat there in the big leather armchair, the one David and I had picked out years ago, just staring at the empty space beside me. Every corner of that house screamed his absence. He was in the way the sunlight hit the floorboards we'd laid together, in the scent of old books from the library we built, in the quiet hum of the servers in the basement that ran the company he'd created from nothing. Then I heard it, the click-clack of heels on the hardwood upstairs. It felt like a violation of the grief that should have filled that space. Chloe, my daughter-in-law, descended the grand staircase. She wasn't wearing black. Instead, she was dressed in a sharp, cream-colored business suit, looking like it was tailored just this morning. Her makeup was flawless, a mask of cool, unsettling composure. She glided past me, her expensive perfume trailing behind her, without even a glance in my direction. She pulled out her phone and started talking in a voice that was crisp and utterly devoid of emotion. "No, the timeline has to be accelerated," she said, walking toward the kitchen. "We need to liquidate the secondary assets by the end of the quarter. It's about maximizing liquidity. The past is the past." I felt like a piece of old furniture, a relic she hadn't yet decided whether to keep or toss. The silence returned, heavier, colder. Right then, I knew the storm wasn't over. It was just beginning. The very next day, we sat in the polished mahogany conference room of David's lawyer, Mr. Davies. The air was thick with the scent of leather and old paper. I'd known Mr. Davies for 20 years. He'd watched David grow up, advised him when his little startup was just a dream sketched on a napkin. He looked at me with a pained expression before putting on his professional glasses and clearing his throat. Chloe sat opposite me, her back ramrod straight, her hands clasped on the table. She looked like a CEO at a hostile takeover, not a grieving widow. Mr. Davies began to read David Peterson's last will and testament. The legal language was dense, but the core of it was brutally simple. Clause after clause outlined the transfer of David's assets, his controlling shares in the AI company, valued at over $50 million, his investment portfolio, the cars, the art, the bank accounts, the house. Everything was to be transferred to my beloved wife, Chloe Peterson. My name was mentioned only once, in a single, sterile sentence. To my father, Robert Peterson, I leave my deepest gratitude for being a wonderful father and my first and greatest teacher. And then don't miss the end. Watch full story, it's link attached below.